I still remember that night. Not because anything special happened, but because the rain had been falling for hours. Heavy, as if trying to wash everything outside the window away. The streetlights blurred through the curtain of water, trembling like ghosts trying to hold on to their form. The air inside the house was thick with damp and cold. Every sound, no matter how small, echoed fragmented and out of place. The ticking of the clock, the wind whistling through the door crack, the beat of my heart off rhythm. Then 3 knocks echoed, slow, decisive, in the middle of the rainy night. I wasn't expecting anyone, nor did I hope for anyone to come. But when I opened the door, it was there, a small cardboard box soaked, placed right on the threshold. No sender name, only 2 words scrawled in black ink smudged, "For you." I looked around. No footsteps, no engine sounds, no one. Only the rain, steady, heavy, as if drumming on the roof with a foreign heartbeat. And in that moment, I felt someone was still standing out there amidst the whiteout rain, silent, watching me, waiting for me to open the box. I live alone in a small house at the end of a dead-end street. No neighbor close enough to hear the knocks that night. And for a long time I've grown used to the silence. The kind of dense silence that creeps through every crack, clinging to the skin like a layer of unwashed memories. On rainy days, the house becomes a giant, damp, sealed box. The rain tapping on the tin roof sounds like thousands of tiny fingers, drumming a familiar rhythm, so familiar that I can't remember where I've heard it before. Sometimes I leave the kitchen light on all night, not out of fear of the dark, but just to have a weak yellow light spilling into the hallway, proof that someone is still alive in this house. The box still sits in its old spot by the window. Under the yellow light, water drips from the edge of the cardboard onto the floor, each drop thick, spreading like blood vessels. I've wiped it many times, but each time I look back, the streak reappears, longer, darker, as if crawling slowly with intent. I tell myself it's just light reflecting or the rain making me dizzy, distracted. But then, in a moment of careful observation, I saw the box flap gently, very lightly, as if someone was breathing inside. Not the wind, not an animal, but a breath, a weak, wet, and alive. I didn't open the box immediately. It just lay there, a strange object intruding into my otherwise quiet life. The next morning, the rain still fell evenly, so evenly that time seemed stuck in its sound. I sat working, trying to ignore it, but my ears perked at every tiny sound. By noon, I heard a soft, soft sound, so quiet I had to hold my breath, like fingernails scratching cardboard, slow, persistent. I stopped typing, turned around. The box was still there, only the window water dripping drop by drop. I stepped closer, pressing my ear to it. Nothing, just the rain. That night, when I turned off the light to sleep, the sound came again. But this time louder, no longer scratching, but a wet, heavy noise as if someone inside was struggling in a cramped space. My heart raced as I switched on the light. The box was still there, but its surface had bulged, mottled with black-gray as if rotting from the inside, lifting each heavy breath into the air. I stepped back, tried to reassure myself. Tomorrow I just need to throw it away and it would end. But deep down I knew something inside was waiting, watching me. I couldn't take it anymore. It felt like the entire house was watching, like every raindrop knew exactly where it fell, right on that box. On the 3rd morning, when I woke up, I noticed the box had moved. Not far, just a few centimeters, but I was certain I hadn't touched it. I carried it to the kitchen, placed it on the table. Immediately, a moldy smell wafted, thick, mixed with the scent of old paper, rusty metal, and something sweet and metallic, like iron dissolving in the mouth. I held a box cutter, hesitated a few seconds, then sliced a horizontal line. The wet paper tore with a slow, sticky, heavy sound. Inside were crumpled old newspapers, soaked, sticking together. I pushed them aside, and at the bottom an old cassette recorder, cold as if just fished from water. Battery operated, a tape already inserted. No label, no writing. I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to throw it away. The other part, curious or drawn in, unclear. When my fingertip touched the play button, the machine trembled slightly. Not mechanical movement, but as if it were breathing. I pressed play. The mechanism squealed, dry, then fell silent. Only the rain, but not the rain on the tape. The rain outside my window, in the same rhythm, the same resonance. Each drop perfectly matched, as if the machine was recording the present, not the past. I turned off the lights, closed the window, listening. But the rain on the tape continued, steady, precise, even though outside it was now silent. Impossible. Amidst that sound, a strange silence crept in, and short, but deep, like the breath of a living creature. Then a voice echoed, distant, hoarse, whispering close to my ear. "Don't leave it out in the rain anymore." I turned off the machine immediately. The room fell silent. Only the real rain remained, now alien, distorted, echoing from somewhere else. I looked at the machine. From the tape slit, a droplet emerged, icy, black as ink. I didn't understand how water could be inside it. I dried it, placed the machine back in the box, left the kitchen. But as soon as I stepped away, a click sounded, as if someone had pressed play again. I didn't touch the machine again. All day I tried to work, wearing headphones, playing music loud. But the harder I tried to ignore it, the clearer the sound became. A small dripping sound, unsteady, persistent, echoing somewhere in the house. Windows were closed. Outside was dry, but the water still fell. Drop by drop, drop by drop. Night fell, the rain returned. But this time the sound inside was louder. I moved through the house, listening, looking for leaks. Floor eye dry, walls dry. Only one damp spot where the box was placed. On its surface, mist rose faintly as if it were exhaling. I intended to take it outside. But as soon as I touched it, a breath, very near, very real, as if someone was right next to my ear, inhaling a long, heavy breath. I stepped back. The ceiling light flickered and then cut out. Thick darkness poured, swallowing the room. Only the sound remained, rain, the tape. They merged, indistinguishable from reality. And in that moment, I knew I was no longer alone. I couldn't sleep. The rain and the machine blended together, echoing through the house like a distorted, damp, heavy symphony. The boundary between outside and inside my head seemed to vanish. Around 3 a.m, I heard that voice. Not through the machine. Not through speakers. It echoed from a corner of the room where the light could not reach. At first, just a few whispers and fragmented, hoarse, as if calling my name. I covered my ears, but the sound didn't stop. It moved. From the corner, deeper into my head. Then the voice began repeating sentences I had said that day. Ordinary, harmless sentences. "I'm so tired. I want to sleep." But the way it spoke was off rhythm. The tone was identical to mine, but stressed the wrong words, paused incorrectly, as if learning to speak without understanding. I trembled, turned on my phone to record, and just to prove I wasn't losing my mind. When I played it back, my heart froze. The voice on the recording was me, but deeper, hoarser, stretched, as if coming from another room beneath a layer of water. My hands shook, cold sweat ran down my neck. The space around me was silent, but inside my head the sound continued, matching each heartbeat, each breath. And I knew it was not just a voice. It was me, but also not me. The next morning I couldn't take it anymore. I stuffed the machine into a plastic bag, tied it tight, then ran outside, despite the pouring rain trying to hold me back. I ran down the empty street, water up to my ankles. When I reached a public trash can at the corner, I hurled the bag inside. The metal clanged, dry, cold. A fleeting sense of relief passed. Finally, I thought I was free. I returned home, showered, changed clothes, tried to pretend everything was normal. But the house was suspiciously quiet. No rain echoing, no dripping sounds, only absolute silence. By afternoon, when I opened the porch door, I saw it. A small box, placed neatly at the door, soaked. I froze. No need to open it to know what was inside. The words on the label blurred from water, but still readable. "For you." I wanted to scream, but my throat stiffened. I bent down, hand trembling, and noticed a black streak on my fingers, darkening, reeking metallic. Exactly like the smell from the machine. I needed proof that I wasn't losing my mind. I placed the box on the table, took my phone, and hit record. Spoke clearly, step by step, date, time, description of the situation, like someone writing a report to save their own sanity. Silence, only the rain. I let the phone record for 10 minutes, occasionally glancing at the box, heart still beating steadily, telling myself that after today everything would end. When I stopped recording, I took the phone to bed, pulled the screen toward me, pressed play. At first, everything was normal. My voice, dry, tired, reading each line in the quiet room. Then, immediately after the sentence, nothing at all. A long silence. Thick as cotton, stifling, and then, it was me, but not the me I remembered. The voice continued, same pitch but strangely wrong. Extended where it shouldn't. Emphasized words I never emphasized. A distorted cold mimicry. Then within that warped sound I heard, "I know you're listening. You cannot turn it off." I stopped playback, heart pounding like it would burst from my chest. But the phone didn't respond. Screen black, unresponsive. The sound continued. Voice stretched, warped, slowed, echoing from the bottom of water. Then merged into the rain. Unstoppable, unrelenting. I threw the phone on the table. It lay there, screen dark, yet sound persisted. No speaker needed. No headphones needed. It was inside my head. Inside the house. And worse, it knew I was listening. I needed an explanation. At least something tangible, measurable, traceable. I removed the label on the box, carefully peeling the wet paper layers. At the bottom, a faint shipping code appeared, numbers trembling as if rewritten by hand. I entered it into a postal tracking site. Cursor blinked, waiting. The result appeared, returned deceased recipient. I stared at the screen. Not fear, just emptiness, a cold void inside my chest. I tried tracing the sender. The website flickered, then switched to an old error page, gray background. Words appeared. Dead letter facility, closed since 1999. An abandoned postal center where undeliverable packages were stored. Gifts sent to the dead. I sat silently for hours. The screen light was the only thing alive in the dark room. Then a sound echoed, rain, not from the window, not from the roof. Each drop fell steadily right next to my ear, from headphones connected directly to the laptop. I removed the headphones. The sound continued, exactly the same. And amid that rain, a voice whispered, distant but chilling to the bone, "You know the way there." I closed my eyes. No more doubt. This thing knew me. I didn't know why I drove away. Perhaps out of fear to stay. Or, deep down, I needed an explanation, even if I had to find it in the dark. The rain still fell, heavy, persistent, as if trying to hold me back. The road to the abandoned postal warehouse was eerily empty. Rusty signs, letters smeared and tilted among weeds. The houses along the road were pitch dark, windows boarded, no sign of life. When I arrived, I stopped the car. Before me stood a 2-story concrete building, gray, old, gates sealed with rotted chains. On the faded sign, only a few letters remained. Dead letter facility. Moss covered it, glass shattered. No electricity, only lightning flashing across the wall. Each flash seemed to make the building take a short breath. I pushed the narrow door, stepped inside. The smell of rotting paper, dry ink, rusty metal hit my nose. The air was thick, cold enough that even my own breath echoed. Inside, hundreds, perhaps thousands of packages stacked on high shelves. All stamped in red, returned, deceased. The room was so silent I could hear each raindrop fall from the ceiling. Steady, precise, like clockwork in a place without time. I walked slowly down the narrow aisles, feeling like I was trespassing in a postal graveyard, where each package was an unburied memory. Then among hundreds of anonymous boxes, I saw it, a small box, soaked, lying alone in the aisle. On the label, only 2 words scrawled by hand, messy but familiar, "For you." I walked slowly along the shelves, each step making the wooden floor creak, sound echoing in the cold, damp space. The air thick with rotting paper, dry ink, rusty metal, as if time here had long since died. Many torn boxes revealed things that shouldn't exist together. A clock stopped at 3:17, an unsent love letter. A family photo blurred, a rusted, misshapen ring all looked like forgotten memories. Lives trapped between sent and never received. The rain outside nearly vanished. Only my heartbeat remained, blending with faint water drops falling somewhere in the darkness. I shone a flashlight around the room. Its trembling beam swept across a mottled wall, and I saw words in charcoal, messy but clear. They always come back. They always come back. My breath caught. Turning back, the light landed on the box labeled "For You." The paper was rotten, almost crumbled, but the letters underneath, exactly like mine. I didn't remember writing them, yet recognized each stroke. Shaky, twisted, familiar. I bent down, touched the box lid. As soon as my fingertip touched, a rustling sound filled the room. Hundreds of voices merging, vague, overlapping, all whispering one thing. My name. From deep in the hallway, a cold gust blew, carrying not moisture, but rain. But this time I knew it was not coming from outside. I opened the box, hands trembling from cold and tension. Inside was the old cassette machine, soaked, metal warped, reflecting the flashlight, trembling with the rhythm of my heartbeat. All reason seemed to leave me. My hands automatically pressed play. At first only rain, familiar, gentle, yet tightening my chest. Then a breath interjected, so close I could feel warmth and anger on my skin. A female voice spoke, clear, right next to my ear. "Do you remember me?" I clutched the machine, heart pounding like drums. The voice continued, soft, yet hiding a challenging smile. "You left me out in the rain. For so long." I turned sharply. No one. The rain had stopped. The scariest part, the rain on the tape no longer echoed outside. Silence. Stifling. I could hear my heartbeat and blood rushing in my ears. Then from the tiny speaker, another voice, deeper, hoarse, warped, my own, softly responded. "Now I remember." Space seemed frozen. Only terrifying stillness remained, and the sense that this story wasn't finished, only just beginning. The machine fell to the floor, a dry crack echoing through the silent room. The tape rolled out to my feet, leaving a faint water streak on the wooden floor. I bent down, picked it up. Inside the lid, a small piece of cardboard scrawled in black ink, "Return to sender." I flipped it over. Familiar handwriting, shaky, hurried, what my own. My whole body chilled. Fragmented memories surged back a year ago on a rainy night like this. I had received a package. No address, no sender, only the words, "For you." Inside was this cassette machine. I had turned it on and heard her voice and the woman I tried to forget. The one who left this world in an accident, under the rain where I was the last to speak to her. I had thrown the machine away, thinking I had buried it forever. But now it had returned, carrying my own voice like a closed loop. I realized suddenly, the package was never sent to me. It was sent from me. I am the sender, and also the recipient. I left the building as dawn just broke, weak rays piercing through the thick fog covering the road. The rain had stopped, but the air remained damp, as if the sky and earth still bore the weight of last night's secret. I drove without knowing where, mind empty. The box sat still in the passenger seat, dry, lifeless, as if it had never been wet. I tried leaving it in the warehouse, but when opening the car door, it was still there, defying all logic. I realized I no longer had the strength to fear, only exhaustion, emptiness. Back home, I placed the box on the floor and stared at it. Silence filled the room. No rain, no breath, nothing. I thought if I sit long enough, perhaps it will vanish like a forgotten dream. Then 3 knocks echoed, low, firm, familiar. I looked out the window. Fog white, no figure. Turning back, the box had opened. Inside was empty. I bent down, and on the floor lay a new package, still wet. Paper label, scrawled handwriting, familiar. "For you." I smiled weakly. This time, perhaps, I would not open it. But part of me knew the loop had not ended. The echoes of rainy nights, lost voices, still existed somewhere. A cold gust swept through the room, making the crumpled paper tremble. My breath quickened. In that moment, I heard the rustling, very soft yet chillingly clear, as if hundreds of voices whispered at once, outside and inside my head. My name. I stepped back, hands trembling. And in the overwhelming silence, I realized the loop never ends. It is only waiting for the next opening.